Can you speak a little bit about the myths and perceptions around autism, from especially with focus on the South Asian community? What are your experiences?
The first thing I see is that our community is not very familiar with this diagnosis. So, initially, when a child might show some autistic symptoms, we're very likely to say, oh, it's nothing. Let's just try and ignore it, or it'll go away as they get older. But I would say if you find that the child is having difficulty in forming friendships, if the child is having problems with adjustment, because at the end, any mental health disorder has to do with adjustment in the community. So if they're having trouble with that, keep in mind that early intervention is very important. The common myth I see is that firstly, people are not getting vaccinations because they think that, oh, if we get a vaccination our child is going to get autism, and that is definitely been debunked. It's not true. It's very important to get those vaccinations, and there's no evidence to suggest that vaccinations cause autism. The second thing that I see, is that often parents blame themselves, that I must have done something, or it was my behavior, or I was very stressed during the pregnancy and that caused my child to be autism. And while we don't know the exact cause for autism, there is growing evidence to show that often it's genetic. It might be related to, just like any other developmental disorders, it's related to older age in parents, or there might be other factors that contribute, but it's usually not got to do with a parent, or a specific behavior of a parent. And often, especially mothers will really put
Mhm.
themselves down when a child is diagnosed with autism, and it's very important to remember that it's not your fault. So that's the other myth that we see. And then I would say one more thing is that often when people see that a child's doing repetitive behaviors, they'll think, oh, it's autism. But remember, it's not just one thing, it has to be all these different things together. When a child might show some autistic symptoms, we're very likely to say, oh, it's nothing. Let's just try and ignore it, or it'll go away as they get older.